So now we have finished all the points on our squash blossom, and I started with a base of 9 warps, and I went in 4, and then I increased another 8 warps from my point, and again I went in 4 before I increased another 8 warps. So it doesn't matter how many you decrease by. You can decrease by 4, 5, 6, 8, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter as long as you're consistent. So this is bulky yarn, and it makes a big difference in your design whether you're using bulky, medium, or fine yarn. So this is the difference. The bulky, this is a worsted weight, and this is sport weight. So you can see you get a finer design line with the finer the yarn you use. So it makes a big difference what size yarn you use. That gives you a different angle on your diagonal. And also this is an example of weaving a squash blossom within a squash blossom, and then extending it out as far as you want to go, or clear to the outside edge. Or you could even do a half squash blossom, which would be like that. So there's a lot of variations of the squash blossom. And it's also very good if you're doing a symmetrical rug and you want to hit the exact center. So I've tried to hit the exact center of the rug horizontally like this. So I'm ready to start increasing instead of decreasing my brown. So remember, one side is always ahead of the other. So on this one, I'm going to start increasing. So I'm going to go over the top of the tan. So it's going to go out. And I have switched to a smaller shed stick. That always gives you a little bit more boost of your weaving space. And I've also switched to a smaller batten. So this one is shortening up 1 warp each time. So you can see last time it went around this one. Now it needs to go around that one that's in back of the batten. So I'll pick it up on when I weave from right to left. So I'm weaving from right to left. I want to catch that one. And this one, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I should have gone around that last one. Last time I should have picked that one up. I didn't, so I'll pick it up now. So I'm going to weave over the top of the tan, and this one is going to increase 1 on the left side. So it's going over the top of the tan, and this is shortening up 1. So it's not going to go over the brown, it's going to go up to it, but not over it. So, same rule applies. If the yarns are hanging on the left side of your weaving, you're going to start with the one on the right. So this one is not going over the tan or the brown, it's shortening up. But the brown is going over the tan. So it needs to go around that one that's in back of the batten. And again, this is the time you need to pull your weaving apart. You're increasing from this one to this one. So 1 each row. You're shortening, or excuse me, you're lengthening the brown, you're shortening up the tan. So this is one shorter. This is one larger on the right side. And this needs to go around that warp that's in back of the batten. I'll pick it up when I go left to right. And this needs to go around the one that's in back of the batten again. So you have to make sure, because they can be in front or they can be in back of the batten. You just have to check. this is getting one larger on each side. Checking to make sure. Just getting one larger over here. So this is getting one shorter. Okay, now I have reached the outside point with this brown. See, it's this. I've gone in 4 and then back out another 4 on this side. I will have reached my 4 out here too. So now I want to start this point. So in order to start this point, I have to go clear in to this warp. So if you take your fingernail and just run up along that warp, you can see I need to go around that warp right there. And then I'm going to go out 4 again, and then into this warp. So I've started a new point on the left. And again, I'm going to start going out with my brown. And over the top of my tan. And this one needs to go into this new point. So it has to go clear into this, around this warp. So this is another place I'll put a little reminder so that next time I know I have to go around that warp. Okay, so there's my little reminder. I want to go around that warp. And this one I'm increasing 1. So I'm going to go over the top of the tan. And this I'm shortening 1. So it goes up to the brown but not over it. It's going to go around that one right there next time. So it's going to go around this one. This one, check, make sure you're going over the top of that tan. And this one, I'm going to go over the top of the tan, so I'm increasing it. I went around this one last time, and I'm going to go around this one. And this one, I'm shortening 1. So I'm going to go out 4 and then back to here, and out 4 and then back to here, and then out 4. So I'm just going to weave by myself a little bit, and I will join you in a few minutes. So now I've reached the end of my squash blossom design, and I'm ready to weave just a little bit of plain weave. So you can see that each point goes out 4 warps and then clear into the next starting point, out 4, and then the last one goes clear into the center warp, or next to the center warp, then out 4. So I'm ready to end this design, and I'm going to weave a little bit of plain weave after that. So the way you end a design is you break off the 2 in the middle and you continue with the 1 on the outside edge. So I'm just going to leave this one, and I'm going to break off this one. And the wool I'm using has 10% mohair, and it makes it really strong. So you just want to kind of untwist it a little, break off sections at a time. So it has to go around that last warp and in through, and just wrap that little tail around. That little fuzzy tail back. And this side I'm going to weave in. And I can break it off about there. Again, I'm going to untwist it because this too has 15% mohair. It gives it a little bit of sheen, but it makes it awfully hard to just pull apart. So since I'm going to be continuing on with the tan, I'm just going to weave this over the top so it doesn't show. And then I'm ready to just start weaving with this color. And my weaving space is getting smaller and smaller. I'm about to the point I'm going to switch to using needles rather than butterflies, simply because I find it kind of hard on my fingers running it through the smaller shed. So you can see that's the end of my design. So I'm going to weave a little bit of plain weave and then repeat this design and then repeat this border. So join me next time when we'll work on more tapestry techniques and edge-to-edge techniques. And I think we'll also work on some of the finishing techniques. So be sure to join us next time. Thanks for watching.